Geographic Information Systems, GIS, are undergoing rapid transformation with the advent of artificial intelligence. It's redefining the way geographical data is analyzed and used. GeoAI is the new term coined for geospatial artificial intelligence. The real world understanding of business possibilities, ecological impacts, and operational hazards can now be enhanced through GeoAI. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Analytics Insight podcast, where we talk about the ever evolving tech space. And I'm your host, Priya Diyalani. GeoAI is driving innovation across industries, helping businesses tackle challenges and seize opportunities proactively. It is transforming the speed at which we derive insights from complex data sets, enabling us to tackle the planet's most urgent challenges. Let's welcome Agendra Kumar, Managing Director, ESRI India Technologies, to give us more insights around GeoAI and its impact on social and civil services. Hi, Agendra. Good morning. A very warm welcome to our podcast today.
Thank you, Priya, for inviting me on this podcast. I'm really delighted to have this conversation with you.
Likewise, it's a pleasure to have you on our podcast. And I think when we talk about GIS and now again we have Geo AI, there is so much to talk about it, and I think we will be unlocking more such insights from your end in our conversation today. But before that, let's tell our listeners more about S3 India Technologies, its specialization, and alongside that, a little bit more about you, Agendra. How has your journey been till date, and what exactly is your role at the company today?
All right. So, thank you, Priya, once again. ESRI India was established in 1996. We are the market leader in Geographical Information System, that is GIS software, location intelligence and mapping solutions in the country. ArcGIS is a global brand. That's ESRI's brand, and it's popular all over the world. In India also, it is being used by more than 6,500 organizations in government, private sector, academia, and many organizations in non-profit sector as well. ESRI India also introduced Indo ArcGIS a few years ago through enormous local value addition in the global technology. And we are currently serving about 1.5 million individuals who use applications running on our technology in their organizations. So that's the kind of user base we have in the country. Within the company, we have about 800 people right now, working from 10 offices across the country. And like most other businesses, customers are at the center of our existence. We support them through two very uniquely delivered programs. One is Customer Success Program, wherein we ensure that they get maximum value out of the investment they make in our technology. So we focus both on deployment of technology and adoption of technology, because technology is so vast, it has so many features and can address a lot of different kind of use cases. So it's important to educate customers continuously so that they are able to maximize the usage of technology. And second is customer experience program. Building a extraordinary experience is something which we strive for. And this program also helps our retaining the customers and ensuring that they get good experience while dealing with ESRI India as an organization. Now, another thing which I'd like to talk about is that in any GIS application, data is very important. So to build a successful GIS application, geospatial data is important. And to make a lot of critical geospatial data sets available to our customers, we introduced Indo ArcGIS Living Atlas. So Living Atlas is a ESRI's global offering, but we created an Indian chapter of that, and we call it Indo ArcGIS Living Atlas. It's a cloud-based repository that provides much used data access to our users. It's hosted in India, and it's a part of global system. And what we do is we georeference data which is published as open data by various government entities. Now, these could be even in form of spreadsheets or PDF documents, and provide them as spatial layers for our users. So this has taken away a lot of pain in adoption of GIS in the country. Earlier, it was very difficult for users to find out data. Now it's very easy because it's available at one place. Now the question comes that what these data sets are. These are basic but highly useful data sets like administrative boundaries, starting from village level all the way to international boundary. So we work with Survey of India. We take the international boundary from them, and we take the other boundary information from various sources so that authoritative boundaries are available to our users. It has roads and railways network. We extrapolated data from 2011 census because that's the last census which was done. Of course, the new census is in progress, and next year we should have updated data. But till we have this, what we did, we took 2011 data and projected the population and other parameters till 2036 to help in macro level planning. So very important repository of data for our users. Then we have data sets like soil information, natural resources, climate and sustainability related data. So there are some 800 data sets that are currently available on the Indian Living Atlas. Why do we call it Living Atlas? We call it Living Atlas because we continuously update these data sets. As fresh data becomes available from different government organizations, we update the data in Living Atlas so users have access to the most recent data which is available from different organizations. We've been receiving somewhere between 6 to 8 million online requests at this cloud hosted infrastructure. So that's how popular it has become. And it's helping many organizations in solving the critical problems in their organizations or for the society at large. Now, another point, as I mentioned, we serve various segments. We have business with government organizations that are dealing with land, water resources, forests, environment, municipal bodies, then electric, gas, and water utilities, telecommunication companies like Airtel and Jio, several insurance companies, then manufacturing organizations, retail companies are among our users. So it's a pretty widely used technology in both in government and private sector. So that's a little bit of overview about ESRI India and what we do and who we serve. Now you asked about my role in the company. Well, I joined ESRI India in 2013 as its president. I'm currently the chairman of its board and managing director. I also have 60% equity holding in the company. So ESRI India is a company which is the majority is held in the country. So it's an Indian company working under Indian laws, and all the decision making happens in India. So that's the kind of company we have. I hope I covered all the points that you wanted me to.
Yes, definitely, Agendra. And we are really glad to understand the story, behind Esri and how the company is built on a vision, set of values, and years of consistent effort. And in hearing about your role also gives our audience a clear understanding of or a different perspective on leadership responsibilities that go beyond the day-to-day operations. Great. With that foundation set in place, Agendra, now when we talk about GeoAI, as organizations and governments intensify their focus on sustainability, technology is becoming a powerful enabler in achieving environmental goals. From identifying the most suitable locations for renewable energy projects to monitoring environmental changes and optimizing infrastructure planning, geospatial intelligence is transforming how these critical decisions are made. And when it's combined with artificial intelligence, these capabilities, of course, become even more powerful, empowering faster analytics, predictive insights, and data driven planning at scale. What role do you think Geo AI can play in accelerating renewable energy deployment and supporting India's broader sustainability goals.
Right. I think it's a very pertinent subject talking about renewable energy and sustainability. We all see challenges because of climate change, which is happening all around. We see challenges to our ecology, and as the population growth is happening, there's more stress on resources like water and clean air. So I think these are all very real and big challenges. So a good part here is that if we take some action even now, we can control the negative impacts of the climate change which is happening. Both GIS and GeoAI help a lot, can help a lot in this area. So starting from identification of the reasons why sustainability has become a challenge. So that data comes into GIS systems, and there's a lot of analysis possible, and then some certain decisions can be taken. Now, GeoAI makes it even more powerful because GeoAI enables very enhanced terrain modeling. It also can have the decisions about where to install solar farms. Uh, that's one example, that depending on the sunlight available in certain regions, the kind of soil which is there, because soil has to hold the solar panels, and also the wind, because sometimes some areas the wind can be very strong. So AI and GeoAI helps in bringing all these data sets together and making informed decisions about installation of large solar farms. So terrain information, soil information, wind direction and speed, I think these are some of the important data sets which play a role when it comes to installing renewable energy systems like solar or wind energy. GeoAI makes it easier, makes it faster, going through all the data sets which are available and giving a lot of information which is more accurate, and it's available much faster. And GeoAI also enables multiple combinations to be done in a really quick time. Now, we also have tools for processing satellite image and using AI models on that uh, to get the insights about the sustainability related challenges which are taking place. Let's take an example of water sector. I mean, water is something which is a critical resource, and many states are facing big challenge in terms of availability of good quality water. So a lot of water bodies have dried up over a period of time. Now, through the use of GIS and GeoAI, the catchment area for the rainwater and how to channelize that water into water bodies, lakes, or rivers, there's a lot of work happening in that area. So satellite imagery plays a role there. Some states are using some amount of drone imagery also. Both have pluses and minuses. Satellite imagery can be available at a very large space, but it may be a little expensive if you really look for high resolution satellite imagery. But drone imagery is considered to be more cost effective if you are looking at a smaller geographical area. So all these data sets can be brought into GIS for processing, geoprocessing, analytics, GeoAI based analytics. So all these are coming together. IoTs also play an important role here when it comes to monitoring the rainfall, uh, water systems, what is the availability of water, what is the quality of water. So IoTs can capture that information, and sensors can capture that information and bring it over a GIS system so that we know for each location what is the availability and quality of water available. So these kind of systems are becoming extremely popular. And same thing is happening for forest also. I mean, the forest cover in some areas has improved over last couple of decades because some actions were taken after analytics were done in GIS systems. And also things like forest fire happens quite often. So those fires can be identified by running AI models on GeoAI models on satellite imagery and combining that with wind direction and the type of forest, the spread of uh, fire, if it is likely to happen, can be predicted and actions can be taken to contain the fire. So these are some of the examples of how GIS and GeoAI are helping in accelerating the deployment of renewable energies and also supporting the sustainability goals. And I've spoken about goals which are more related with climate. Of course, these technologies are being used for higher education, removing, reducing poverty and all those sustainability goals that we are trying to address. Another important thing that happens here is that each district and states have their own sustainability goals. Now, ESRI India has created a framework wherein which is a part of our uh, tools which are available as a part of Indo ArcGIS, where districts and state can bring their data and they can see from month to month what is the progress on their achievement of sustainability goals. So it's a very powerful analytical tool which is available as a part of our technology, where they can monitor and they can classify red, green, and amber and how things are changing. And if it's not changing, they can take actions that what needs to be done to have progress on each of the sustainability goals.
Thank you for that fascinating overview, Agendra. And what stands out is how the conversion of geospatial intelligence and AI is enabling governments and organizations to optimize the infrastructure planning and monitor environmental impact and eventually thrive on data-driven decisions, again with much greater speed and accuracy. And as India continues to invest heavily in clean energy and aims to achieve ambitious net zero and renewable energy targets, technologies like GeoAI are likely to play an increasingly important role in ensuring that these projects are both economically viable and environmentally responsible. Okay, so that brings me to my next question, which is now we also need to understand that while we have been talking about the impact of a geo AI on the environmental concerns, it's also important how governments can actually implement these technologies in their policy implementation and national development programs. And this is in context to the Indian landscape, because in India AI is being developed within a social purpose framework aligned with the vision of inclusive welfare, uh, and it's positioning it as a public good, and which is again aimed at equity and broad based access rather than just exclusivity. So, how are government agencies, I mean, are they integrating AI-powered GIS into policy implementation? And if not, how do you think they can still implement them in their national development programs?
Right. So I think it's important, and ESRI India works with many government agencies, and I mean I'm happy to say that about 70% of our revenue comes from the work that we do with government. The uses of GIS in government has really scaled up over last couple of decades, and GIS has been a part of. I will address GIS separately, and I'll bring AI later on because this is something which is going on, which has been going on for like as I mentioned, couple of decades, and AI is relatively new. So a little bit of story about the past. So GIS adoption of GIS in many national programs such as Digital India program, PM GatiShakti, smart cities. I think this has been very powerful. So these programs have really benefited from adoption of GIS. And if we look at the governance part, many states have used uh, applications to ensure that if it's things like direct benefit transfer, it happens more efficiently. It reaches the right population in the right way. So which was one of the aims of Digital India. So I think that's and it made a huge amount of difference so that nobody was left out in some of the states where GIS was heavily used for running the DBT and such kind of programs. Swamitva is another program which is which has an impact on a rural population, giving the property cards to the villagers where about their dwellings on which they have been living, but they did not have title to it. So Swamitva program was run with GIS, and drone mapping was done, and a lot of things happened there. Now in Swamitva, AI has played a role because using AI, identifying the land on which the dwellings were built was done, and it was scaled up. I mean, doing it for I mean, it's a program which is covering more than 6 lakh villages in the country. So when you are trying to deal with such an enormous data at this scale, AI really helped in implementation of Swamitva and identifying the land on which the title needs to be given to a farmer. So that's where the value of AI came in. Then we have programs like Jal Jeevan Mission. So it's a program which is running for quite some time, and it will be there for many years to come in some form or the other. There also, AI is playing an important role in understanding the water availability, how to improve, how to distribute water, uh, and how to make sure that Har Ghar Jal vision is achieved. So GIS and AI are both contributing quite a lot there. PM GatiShakti is another GIS powered platform where a lot of data is coming from different ministries, and that data is going to be available to various other user organizations to consume. That's a government initiative. A similar initiative that I spoke about earlier, which is Living Atlas, is something which we have created, and that is helping user community again. So these are some of the areas where GIS and AI are playing a role. Now, another thing is like what is helping a lot is the new geospatial policy which came out in 2022. So that liberalized a lot of data collection and map generation and sharing of data. So this is really helped in transformation. Um, and many other policies which are created by government at both state and central level depend on the data which comes from their GIS systems. As I mentioned earlier, the census data becomes the base for planning. Now, that becomes a very important set of layers which is available in a GIS system. And on that, many decisions are taken, many national development programs are planned. Even if you look at smart city program, I think GIS played a very important role in identifying the new areas where parking should be planned, how the retrofitting of cities should be done to provide better quality of life, how the drainage should be planned, how the roads should be widened. So all those kind of things happen because of use of GIS. But today, when we bring GeoAI along with GIS, I think the speed of implementation can be much faster and can go to a much finer level. I'll give you an example of application which is popularly used by some of the states, and it is about identifying encroachment on government property. So a lot of people, sometimes they encroach on the land which belongs to government, and sometimes government is not able to find that very easily. So using imagery, with drone imagery, and running GeoAI workflows on that, some states are very easily identifying the land which belongs to government, but somebody else has encroached that. Somebody else is living on that, or somebody has added extra floors to their own land, to their own building. So I think those kind of encroachments and extra violations of building laws can easily be identified using GIS and GeoAI, and the actions can be taken to either take appropriate tax or recover the land which has been taken away by someone else as encroachment. So these are some of the couple of examples. It's a big subject. Government operations are quite big, and AI is today being used in agriculture quite effectively, in disaster management, in better road planning, better urban planning. So there are many, many programs which are being supported by AI for government in these days. Thank you.
Well, that's a really great point, Agendra. And I mean, it's evident that AI-powered GIS is no longer just a tech enabler. It is becoming a strategic foundation for modern governance. I think it's helping government agencies from reactive decision making to predictive and proactive policy implementation. And again, when we're talking about infrastructure planning, public health, transportation or smart city initiatives. I think the ability to analyze spatial data in real time is helping policymakers in India to make more informed and a citizen driven decision making in place. And I think then overall it will help the government measure its outcome and also ensure that they are delivering public services efficiently and at scale. Great. With that being said, I think with our discussion today, we have kind of got an understanding that the role of GIS today goes just beyond traditional mapping. Earlier maps were static, department driven, and used primarily for visualization. However, the future and also the current era that we are living in, it requires a dynamic national spatial data framework that can continuously integrate and update information from satellites and drones, IoT sensors, transportation network, enterprise application, land records. I think the list is never ending. So, one last question for you is how do you see India's GIS economy evolving probably over the next decade? And what are some opportunities you think will grow in the coming decade?
Okay, so Indian geospatial analytics market is growing quite well, and as a whole, geospatial economy, which is much larger, because many Indian organizations, Indian private sector companies, also do some service export of services. So that also is a part of that. So it's a quite a large geospatial economy we have in the country. The important components are like a lot of satellite imagery, drone imagery, which is captured. The service sector is big, technology sector is there, and this economy is growing by about 14% CAGR. So that's the kind of growth we are looking at, and it's likely to double by 2031. So currently, if we say that it's about 1.58 billion US dollar in 2025, it's likely to cross 3.5 billion US dollars by 2031. So that's the kind of size we are looking at. So number of things are playing up here. One is that 5G technology has really helped because the data transfer rates are higher, which are, for example, when you fly a drone or you capture a data and you want to send that data on a cloud for processing, uh, 5G network is a great boon for that. Uploading large data sets has become much easier. So that helps a lot. We run a lot of GeoAI based workflows for precision agriculture, improvement in agriculture yield, yield estimation for given for a state. So all this because satellite imagery is captured or drone imagery is captured, processing has also improved quite a bit. We have better IT facilities available. And then the National AI Mission also is quite a handy tool for people who want to run their AI workflows on the government system. So that these are important parts. Now, a couple of things which I would like to mention here. One is that I believe that see disaster management is an area where for last 25, 30 years, a lot of efforts have gone in. And we have seen very good results also. And I think more work is required here. If you go back to late 90s or so, if for in case of every cyclone, some 10,000, 13,000 lives were getting lost. Because at that time, the information where the landfall will happen, how many people live there, I mean, that there was no system for that. And people just used to, die and, suffer because of a non-availability of that information. So I think government took very good steps there. Government and private sector collaborated, and we also worked with some of the organizations under Ministry of Earth Sciences and Ministry of Environment and Forests, and then also with a lot of local bodies. And what happened was that using GIS, now today, whenever there's a cyclone, we know exactly what is the path, where the landfall is going to happen, how many people live there, and government over a period of time in states like Andhra and Odisha, they have where there are more cyclones, they prepared cyclone shelters, they have evacuation paths, and the whole system has been set up now. So before a cyclone hits, people are evacuated, they are taken to safer place. And now using GIS, resilient infrastructure is being created in the coastal areas so that the minimum damage to the property will also be ensured. So that's a very powerful use of GIS technology, of saving life. There is no value, we cannot attach any value to life. So if we are able to save 10,000 lives, I think it's a great benefit of this technology. And we have seen that in last few years, in case of a cyclone, the life to loss is minimal. In most cases, single digits. Okay, so that's the impact the technology has created. And we see a lot of more work happening in this area. In this year's budget, in 2026 budget, there was a provision for National Geospatial Mission. So this is something which is going to be a game changer. Countries looking at creating a geospatial infrastructure at a very large scale, which will have data, which will have compute capability, which will have workflows, it will have a lot of mapping available, different kind of maps available. So this will become a base for national level planning. There'll be involvement of both government as well as private sector in this, and the investment, though initial investment announced by government was a token investment of 100 crores, but this is going to be a huge project with much larger investment. National Geospatial Policy 2022, which I spoke about, that is going to be a key enabler for India to achieve the vision of $5 trillion economy. And there'll be a lot of focus on innovation, public-private partnerships, and strengthening of spatial infrastructure in the country. We also hear a lot, not only hear, but see a lot of emerging trends which are happening, like digital twins, creation of digital twin for cities, for utilities, for construction which is going on, for airports. So all this thing is digital twin is a good opportunity for the private sector also to participate in that, and also a lot of value will come out of this because digital twins can help us in finding solutions to problems which we have not been able to solve so far. For example, if you create a digital twin of a city, you bring all the 3D maps, 3D buildings, entire terrain map, so you can address urban flooding has become a big challenge in many of the cities. We see floods happening we've seen that in Mumbai, in Chennai, in Bangalore, in many other cities. So that problem can be addressed to a very large extent by making digital twins and 3D mapping of the entire area. So eventually, GIS technology is becoming like a strategic asset for national growth and economic development. And with the collaboration between government and private sector, India can scale it to a level where we can be among the top users of GIS and GeoAI and realize the country's goal of becoming a largest player for a geospatial economy in the world. So that's the kind of future I see for this technology as we move into next few years.
Definitely, Agendra, that was an insightful and a really fantastic end to our conversation today. As India accelerates its digital transformation journey, backed by supportive policy reforms, increasing private sector participation, and the conversions of AI, IoT, and analytics, the possibilities seem almost limitless. And it also opens the door for startups and researchers, academic professionals to build entirely new solutions on top of geospatial data. Thank you so much, Agendra, for your insights today. And, I think with what you shared, GIS and combined with AI, we are not in the map making business anymore. We are in the intelligence business. The companies that win will not be the ones with the most data, but the ones that best understand what data means. Thank you so much for your insights today. It was lovely chatting with you.
Thank you, Priya. And I also want to thank Analytics Insight for inviting me to this podcast. It was really a great pleasure speaking with you for last few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Agendra. This is for listeners. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion around the evolution of GIS, how the integration of AI is changing the games of the table, and GeoAI seems to be reaching that inflection point where location intelligence, AI, and data are converging to redefine planning, sustainability, and overall governance. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes, and you can view all our previous episodes on Spotify and other leading platforms. Thank you so much.